How's it going today? It's your man Cham here, and today we are back for the third season of the Aussie Sim Racing Championship. This time we're back in Formula 2, and unlike last season, we're looking like we're actually going to be at the front of the field, which is really good. In the pre-season race at Austria, I actually finished in second place, only a second behind the winner, so I've got a lot more pace this season. I found myself a lot happier on this game. Like, I just feel like it's so much easier to have good pace. But anyway, you can brag all you like about doing well in the pre-season, but in reality it just does not matter unless you do well in the actual season itself. So here we are, we're about to start our final flyer here in Australia, and we're looking pretty good. A lot of cars are going quite fast, so I could be anywhere between 1st and 10th. Unfortunately, however, on my first flying lap in this run, I actually screwed it up, so I've had to go and do a second one. And here we are on that second lap now, but it's all good because it's meant to be raining at the start of the race, so I won't need to worry about tyre conservation or anything. So here we are, we're just going all hell for leather. We're up in the first sector, it's all feeling pretty good so far, and well, after a hard lap where I found a lot of pace through sector 2 and 3, I actually qualified on the front row of the grid. It's the second time I've done it in an official ASR race, the last time being Singapore last season in Season 2, and well, I'm so happy I was able to actually do well in qualifying here, because if you don't qualify in the top, say, 5, it's going to be a chaotic start to the race. Anyone could get involved, and there could be some first lap hero just willing to take you out. As expected, for the race, I was greeted with intermediate conditions. Things were feeling pretty good for me. I'm normally quite good in the wet on this game actually, and so I was feeling quite confident that I'd be able to actually make the move stick into turn 1 and take the lead of the race. Given that most of the old Formula 2 boys from last season, such as Prying Stingray and Dynamite 296, have made the move up to F1 this season, there's a lot of new people in F2 this season, so I'm hoping that I can make the move stick into turn 1 and get past Chucky, who just happens to be one of those new people. Having the inside line, of course, will be very beneficial for me in that case, because if I'm late on the brakes, I'll be able to actually make it stick, especially if I get a good start to go with it. But anyway, after a bit of waiting for the bottom of the grid to come back after the formation lap, the lights are now on. We've got 3, 4, 5 lights. And away we go for round 1 of the ASR Formula 2 Season 3 Championship. We've had a very good start. We're just about level with Chucky, so as planned, I've gone on the inside. I've put a very fair but rough maneuver on him, and I've taken the lead. We are leading after turn 1. How good is this? Hopefully going to turn 3, there's not much chaos. We're going to take the corner normally, but unfortunately it's not so straightforward as Rumble actually crashes into the back of our car. Thankfully, we aren't forced off the road, but it's given Chucky the lead back, and I'm just going to have to stick behind him now, give him a bit of an under pressure situation, which, well, he screwed up almost immediately, so that's us back into the lead then, and hopefully we can keep a very quick starting Force 1 behind us, as he's looking very dangerous. My main focus, however, had to be keeping the car on the track, owing to the fact that it's pretty treacherous conditions. I mean, it's not full wets, but intermediates is still pretty dangerous for a car. I mean, I could slide off at any corner, and if I were to do that, I would lose a lot of places, especially because it's first lap. And, well, that nearly happened now, as I've had a huge moment coming out of the chicane. That's not looking good for me, but thankfully Force 1 also had the same problem, so I've managed to streak ahead for a little bit, give myself a little bit of breathing room, but at the same time I'm taking it very cautiously. I was in a party with him, so I was sort of telling him what I was doing. Thankfully for me at this point, he was also following the same sort of thing. He was actually going a little bit quicker than me, so I had to hope that I could keep him behind for a bit, but at this point in time I was happy because, well, your boy just led the very first lap of the season, which means that I should be on for a very good year. At this point, I was just feeling a mix of confidence and nervousness. It was pretty crazy. I was making sure I didn't make any mistakes or anything, and, well, we had a very quick Force 1 behind us, and it was only really a matter of time before he was able to square up and move on us. So I basically had to try and find some sort of balance between going as fast as possible, but at the same time keeping it on the track. The car was very heavy with fuel, and so I didn't want to try and do anything silly. With that being said though, I was still getting pretty damn close to going off the track, just like I nearly did here. The last thing I wanted to do is repeat myself here and get on the AstroTurf on the outside of the curb. That is never a good thing for an F1 car in this game. Another thing which isn't good for me on this game is the impending McLaren behind me as Force 1 pulls off a dive, nearly makes it stick, but thankfully I managed to actually keep it together. Having the superior exit traction there really did help me because he was getting more and more threatening in my mirrors with every corner, and as we go into the chicane, it really was starting to get to me. I ended up bottling it. I ran wide, and I had to slow down on exit to make sure I didn't actually go off the track, and this gave him a pretty good run into the corner. However, I was still feeling superior on the brakes, and so I was managing to stay ahead of him, despite the fact that I was feeling very much scared in this weather that I was going to go off. Unfortunately, however, all good things do eventually come to an end, and despite getting another lap in the lead, Force 1 ended up actually getting a pretty good maneuver on me in turn 1, doing the same exact maneuver I pulled on Chucky at the very first corner of the race. And so there we had it. He was through, and that was me into P2. At this point, I just had to make sure I stuck on his back really, in case anything happened to him, I'd be able to be perfectly positioned for an overtake. However, unfortunately for me and my plans, Force was a lot quicker than me and gaining at an alarming rate of knots. He had already pulled out a second on me in that one lap, so I sort of put my fuel up the ridge to try and catch him, but after a little bit, I just sort of realised that it wasn't going to happen and just sort of held shit really. At this point, I was really more interested in actually getting any team championship points rather than fighting and potentially spinning out of the race for a win. Despite that, however, I was still intent on trying to catch Force 1 for the lead as we go through the chicane now. And, well, that was lights out on my challenge for the win as I had an incredible moment and had to actually avoid Rumble behind me. So, at this point, I sort of just figured I need to actually go a bit slower as I was making mistakes left, right and centre. And if I weren't to make any mistakes, I would pull through and just come second. I would happily take that considering I was nowhere near the front of the field in the last season of ASR. After another lap or so, I'd actually dropped Rumble again, so I was basically consigned to just running my own race. I didn't really even answer for Force 1's pace in front of me, so I just had to make sure that I kept it out of the barriers, didn't go off the road, and managed to keep the pace to build up an everlasting gap over the guys like Rumble behind me. Okay, so we've essentially fast forward to lap 9 here, and I'm about to do my very first pit stop of the ASR season. We're still in second, and we've pulled away from the guys behind us. Rumble made an early pit stop and lost a lot of times, so he'd essentially become a bit of a non-factor, but he soon became one again as I got a 5-second penalty for speeding marginally in the pit lane. As per usual, I got pretty decent service from the mechanics on this game, and before I knew it, I was out. And thankfully, I didn't come out in traffic or anything, which given now I had to eke out an extra 5 seconds on the guys behind me was actually a very good thing. However, I once again had just about nothing to worry about. I had a very boring second stint, and well, there was no one near me until I encountered some lap traffic on my in-lap. Unfortunately, however, things got a lot more close than I wanted them to be, as, well, I guess he hadn't read up on his blue flag rules. Thankfully for me though, the Toro Rosso that had slipped through actually was a lap down as well, so I needn't have worried. Literally nothing was going to stop me from second place at this rate, as I'd already gained about 10 seconds on Rumble. Literally the only other thing that happened in this race was myself, Force 1 and Rumble having a little bit of a fastest lap contest at the end of the race. We're all on pretty low fuel loads, but all saved fuel, and we basically all just thought, why not? Let's go for it. I ultimately managed to beat Force 1 and get a fastest lap of 137.03, but unfortunately my lap was beat pretty quickly and I didn't have the fuel to continue with this, so essentially I just came home in a pretty boring second. Force 1 took the checkered flag and won the opening round of the ASR season, and here I came into the finish line and took a well-deserved second place. I've had a great pre-season, and so to carry the form into the actual season felt incredible. Hopefully there's more of it in races to come.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
And so there you have it. That has been round 1 of season 3 in the ASR Formula 2 Championship on PS4. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, go and subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and stay tuned for next weekend's race as we take on Shanghai International Circuit in China. Anyway, it's been your man Cham, and I will see you next time.